Spider-Man Homecoming is probably the best Spider-Man movie in the last 13 years. In fact, it's definitely the best Spider-Man movie in the last 13 years. This movie delivers a terrific Peter Parker, a terrific Marvel movie in general, a terrific Marvel villain, which is not saying much, but Vulture is really good. So this is pretty much the non-spoiler portion. From this point on, it's probably going to be spoilers. To summarize it, probably go see it. It's like 8, 9 out of 10, it's great. There are some flaws. We're going to talk about the flaws there, but I feel like a lot of these flaws I can't talk about without going into intricate details about the plot. So let's get into it. This is Nerd. I think that the two things I want to talk about most, because I feel like they were the biggest good, some of the biggest good and bad things. Liz Allen and like the whole romance stuff, and also Vulture and his whole being a villain. And I feel like it stems from the ultimate problem of character development. This movie has a lot of characters, and at no moment does this movie feel like it's getting long. In fact, I came out of this movie thinking that it could have used more time. And the movie's already like 2 hours and 10 minutes, I want to say, but at the same time, I think it didn't feel long at all. It didn't feel like it was dragging. It felt like it was making good use of its time, and I feel like you could have like made the movie longer, and I wouldn't have had a problem with it. And at the same time, I think that you kind of needed to. Some of these evolutions of characters just don't totally make sense to me. If you're looking at them as the light, you're kind of supposed to. Example, Liz goes from being someone who's like not even going to look at Peter in the hall, not even really acknowledging he exists, not inviting him to her party that she's throwing, and then as soon as he gets to the party, like she's like, hey, you're here, blah, blah, love you. Like she just totally starts falling for him there, and you can kind of actually tell there's a switch up in the actors' performances. And I think Laura Harrier does a really good job of Liz Allen, but I think that this just sudden transition feels like a problem with the writing, in a sense that she goes from not really liking Peter to really liking Peter, and that's just kind of how it's sold, and then we just jump that shark right there. Now, what I will say is this actually does make sense from a certain perspective. If you imagine that Liz is actually just pretending to like Peter to get to Spider-Man, then sure, this makes sense. But I don't think that's what the movie is trying to get us to do. I think it's supposed to be the real romantic part of the movie, and nothing in the movie is a reveal where it's like, well, she's just faking like an idiot Spider-Man. But the only way that this character who doesn't really care about Peter, doesn't really like him, isn't inviting him to her party, and just kind of ignoring him in the halls, is going to then, like, 5 minutes, or like, I guess, like, the next, like, the evening later, just start being like, hey, hey, you're great, it's cool that you're here, and, like, just kind of totally falling for him like this, and being like, hey, come swim with us, like, in the sense of that, it feels really rushed, and I feel like there's a really weird transition there that happens in the romance perspective, but also that happens when she finds out that he knows Spider-Man, so it totally could have been, oh, he knows Spider-Man, I'm going to get with him so I can get with Spider-Man. And the Vulture, it feels like the Vulture goes from the first, because I feel this, I saw other people do this, the Walter White comparison. It feels that this is a villain who, like, you can root for in some aspects, and it feels kind of natural to, and I think that the Vulture, up until he kills Shocker, or the first Shocker, does that pretty well. But it feels like they go from watching the first 40 minutes of Breaking Bad to watching like a random episode in season 2 to then watching like one of the last episodes in the series. Because he goes from this guy who like he has a little bit of a temper, he'll hit somebody, but really he's just kind of provoked and he's upset by Tony Stark and the fact that like the man's getting him down, you know what I mean? Like he's just upset that his job's taken away and he has to do this to protect his family and to serve his family. And then he accidentally murders a guy and doesn't care. Yeah, 8 years skip, but at the same time, we know nothing about those 8 years. And again, it seems like it's supposed to be, he's just kind of going through, he is, like, he has to do it because he has to do it for his family. And the movie keeps pretending that he's doing that the whole time, to the point where even at the end, he's like, he respects Spider-Man for saving his life, and he's not going to hold that grudge and, turn in the fact that he's Peter Parker. But the general just, hey, accidentally murdered a guy. Let's think of this. If you accidentally, like, vaporize someone, you'd have a bit of a reaction. The reaction I get from him is, I've killed a lot of people, this does not matter to me, he's just that villainy. And I don't feel like that's the reaction we're supposed to be getting out of that, so it feels really, really weird when he just murders Shocker and he doesn't care, It feels like very shoddy character development. It feels like the character development is not, here's why they're doing this, it's just now they're changing, now they're different, you know what I mean? And it's weird, and it doesn't totally feel right. But what I will say is this movie, I really enjoy it. And I think Vulture is still a cool villain in some aspects. I think Liz is still a cool character. Like, I really enjoy Liz and Peter together because I think they're still fun characters, and I think that they still have, you know, kind of, they're fun together. I really enjoy them. I think that they have a cool dynamic. I think those actors have good chemistry. I think that works together really well. And maybe that's why I'm kind of feeling the divide between Liz's feelings and like where it kind of starkly differs, because it goes from Peter swooning over her and her ignoring him to them actually having scenes together and them actually feeling it. But at the same time, like, we didn't see that she had that before. It might just be the chemistry between the actors that's doing that. I don't know. I don't know exactly what to blame there. It just felt like a jarring transition. But at the same time, also, Michael Keaton is amazing as Vulture. I think this is definitely at least one of the best villain performances we've gotten in the MCU in a while. Because even if the writing isn't like totally there, this is still probably like top 5 MCU villains in the movies at least. And at the same time, like one of the better acted MCU villains, period. Like up there with Tom Hiddleston as Loki, because Michael Keaton is just doing a terrific job in this movie. It feels like an episode because it's the MCU, but at the same time, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think that's fantastic. Does Iron Man steal the show in this? I feel like that was a big question going in. Looking at the marketing and everything, we focused heavily on Iron Man, and it looked like, hey, this could be Iron Man 4, and it's not. It feels like Iron Man the Next Generation, if anything. Like, we're kind of passing the torch on to Peter of kind of guiding the MCU. Now that we have, like, a popular character, like, because I feel like Iron Man, Captain America, these were characters who were getting big roles in Marvel Comics, but in the general scope of everything, you look at, like, who people know in, like, 2007, I guess. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor aren't the top ones up there. It's, like, Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, like, just the iconic ones. And then they start making Iron Man movies and stuff. And they have like a Spider-Man level character. They're shifting all the focus onto him, and that's not a problem. Spider-Man's cool, and Tom Holland does a terrific job of this. I think this is probably the best on-screen Spider-Man we've gotten in a while. I haven't watched the original Spider-Mans in a while with Tobey Maguire. I mean, like, I like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I'll say that, but he's not perfect, not by a long shot. And I feel like Tom Holland really embodies what the writing's going for and really embodies what you think Peter Parker is from the comics. And I really enjoy that. And I think that it's really good, and I really want to see more of this character. And I'm super excited to see him again in Infinity War, and then Infinity War Part 2, and then Homecoming 2, because Spider-Man's going to be in everything now. And that's not a problem, because he was good. The costume design in this movie is awesome, too. I like that they have Vulture's kind of Vulture neck from the comics. They throw that in there. All the tech looks awesome. I think that's super fun. The way that the props are kind of repurposed from other movies, and how that's in the story is awesome. The Ben Reilly kind of costume, where it's just homemade, pre-Civil War stuff, is fun. And also the new suit. The new suit's really cool. It's a little too much, but that's kind of the point. And it works really well. It looks really slick. And then he has like the Iron Spider suit that you kind of see at the end, and it's like, that looks amazing. You just want to see him wear it. You want to see that in action. So I'm hoping we see that in Infinity War. It makes you want more, but it doesn't make you feel like you didn't get enough. You know what I mean? It's not like they're starving you. It's like they're teasing you. You know what I mean? And I think that's fantastic. And that's something that works. That these movies kind of draw a fine line with a lot. Where instead of like not giving you enough and making you want more, they give you all you need and offer you dessert. And I think that dessert is going to be Infinity War. And I can't fucking wait for it. I think that this movie was really good. I think that the directing was really good. And I think that John Watts really well captured that kind of John Hughes high school feeling. This movie feels different than the other two Spider-Mans, which is fantastic. It's not angsty as fuck and basically a music video like Amazing Spider-Man was. And it's not super goofy Sam Raimi stuff. This feels like a kind of real high school movie, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and with Spider-Man as a protagonist. It feels very John Hughes, and that's totally what they were going for, so it's fantastic that they landed that. The movie is really funny. It's like, the humor in this is fantastic, and I really enjoyed that. I think that's one of the things that kind of carries this movie up above everything that goes, up above some of the other MCU movies. Because yeah, Doctor Strange is funny, and there's some jokes in that. This is really funny, and it's not like super light. It's not like something that some hardcore DCEU fans complain about, like, these movies can't have jokes. Like, they have to be serious. Why can't it just be serious and stuff? Why does it have to be fun? It's like, this is a very fun vibe, and it's not like, it's not super light. There's a few surprises in this movie. I think that the theater's jaws collectively dropped when they revealed that Adrian Toomes was Liz Allen's dad, because that was an amazing moment, and also that was like hands down the best part of the movie, because everyone was surprised by that. Everyone was just, wow. And then there was also the big surprise that a Marvel movie made a very on-the-nose porn joke. And Wasn't expecting it. It's weird that the movie directed at teens, it goes so adult in this, and I guess the other ones are kind of kids. This one felt more teen, and I really enjoyed that. I think that because of that, even though it's not like an adult movie yet, we're not an adult movie, but you know, it's not like targeted at adults yet. It still feels like you're getting a little bit more grown up than just kid movies, and I think that that really works well, and I really enjoyed that. Like, we swear a little bit more in this, and it's fun, and it makes it feel a bit more realistic. Speaking of swearing, Marissa Tomei is fantastic in this as Aunt May. I really like her. I think that above her character is her dynamic with Peter. That works really well, and I think that the playing her off as more of a sister than a grandma works really well. And it's also, again, you want to see something new in these movies. We've seen 2 Harry Osborns, we've seen like Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane. We want to see like something else new. We want to see something different. What do we get? We get a villain we haven't seen on screen before that's actually really good, and we get a new love interest. Actually, we get like kind of 2 new love interests because Michelle isn't Mary Jane, she's just MJ, so we're still going to keep being new, and that's super fun. And also, we change up the dynamic with Aunt May. We don't get the origin story. I think that one of the things this movie does best is feeling fresh, feeling a little bit different than the other MCU movies, because it is serious, and even though it has that fun vibe, like, there are some serious and more kind of adult stuff that this movie does, and I really enjoy that, and I think that that just works a lot better, because this movie, being the 6th Spider-Man movie, feels a lot different. Because it's in the MCU, and you get Iron Man, you get Happy Hogan, who's also fantastic in this, and you get the whole like Stark suit and everything. It feels super different from the other Spider-Man movies you've got, and I really enjoy that. What do you think? Comment your thoughts down below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed. I think I gotta give this like an 8 out of 10, maybe like a 9 out of 10. I don't know if I liked it better than like Guardians of the Galaxy. I for sure like it better than Wonder Woman, less than Logan, and it's a little bit around Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, so there's it on the scale if any of you are curious. So what do you think? Comment your thoughts down below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more movie reviews, and I'll see you all next time.